Hello to all, this is Yosef Faur teaching Mishne Tora in English. Today we are studying Al-Chot Shabbat Perek Kaf. In this chapter, we will deal with a couple of points. Mainly, the two main points of the chapter are the Mitzvah of Shebitat Aibid and Shebitat Behema, the positive precept of a person making sure his cattle, his animals, and his slaves are shobtim on Shabbat. They rest on Shabbat. We will see the definition of Shebitah very soon. Basically, the definition means any melacha that the individual himself is not allowed to do. Also, his animals and slaves are forbidden from doing on Shabbat. We will see clearly in the following halachot. We also will see a specific heter in this manner regarding somebody who has his wallet with him, and Shabbat entered, and it became dark Friday night, and he does not know what to do with his wallet. We will see something in regard to this. And yes, these are the main points: Shebitat Aibid and Shebitat Behema. Let's get straight into it. Halacha Aleph. Asur להוציא מסע על הבהמה בשבת, שנאמר למען ינוח שורך וחמורך, אחד שור ואחד חמור ואחד כל בהמה וחיה ועוף. It is forbidden to put a carry-on, some sort of carrying on a behema, on an animal on Shabbat. Why? As it says in the Torah, למען ינוח שורך וחמורך, your donkey, your ox and donkey shall rest on the day of Shabbat. And this consists of any animal. However, if somebody nevertheless puts something on a behema, some substantial object on a behema, and the behema went out with it, and he took something out of his property with the behema, he is not liable for malkut. How come? It's true that he has a positive commandment. It's true that he has to make sure his animals rest on Shabbat. However, this hiyuv for the animals to rest, this shebitat behemot, is a positive commandment and not a negative, prohibitive commandment. And what this means is that the prohibition of an animal doing work on Shabbat comes from the power of a positive commandment, and is therefore, if he transgresses this positive commandment, he's not liable for malkut because it's a positive and not prohibitive commandment. This is what we call a lav haba mikelal aseh, a prohibitive commandment that comes out from the positive commandment. And therefore, somebody who does what is called himur after his behemah on Shabbat, and it had objects on it, he is patur for doing this. What is mehamer? Mehamer is when the owner of the animal causes the animal to do something, okay, but he doesn't do the melacha himself through the animal. In other words, he causes the animal to go and do some sort of melacha, but he doesn't do it himself. He's not with the animal, touching the animal. However, he lets the animal do it. So in this case, he will not be liable for transgression of a prohibitive commandment, but rather he will be liable for transgressing this positive commandment, which we said is what we call in the halachic lingo, lav haba mikelal aseh. However, if he actively does a melacha with the animal he has with the animal, in this case he's transgressed a lo ta'aseh, and we will see this in the next halacha. Halacha bet. והלא לאו מפורש בתורה שנאמר לא תעשה כל מלאכה אתה ובנך ובתך עבדך ואמתך ובהמתך שלא יחרוש בה וכיוצא בחרישה, ונמצא לאו שניתן לאזהרת מתאבטין ואין לו קנאה עליו. Harambam asks, what are you talking about? That, doing melachot with the animals is not a lav. We just said it's a positive command. What are you talking about? It's a prohibitive command. We have a specific pasuk which says you may not do any melacha, you and your son and your daughters, your sons and your daughters, and your slave and your female male and your animals. So what does this mean? You may not do any type of melacha with the animals, any of the 39 melacha with the animals. And this, so what does this mean? The isur in the Torah, the prohibitive commandment of the Torah, is strictly in regard to the 39 melachot of Shabbat, which we saw all of them mentioned in chapter 7. However, the shevita of an animal on Shabbat, in other words, not allowing an animal to take things in and out, or to do some type of work, etc., this is a positive commandment. And when you transgress this positive commandment, you are liable, you are patur, because it's a lav haba mikelal aseh, so you cannot have malkut. However, this doing a melacha, doing an actual melacha with the animal, while you yourself are pushing the animal to do the melacha, or you're yelling at the animal, etc., this itself is a specific lav. However, this is a lav which in theory can be punishable by death in bet din, in a court. However, there's only one problem with this. In order to punish somebody with a death sentence in Judaism, the law provides that he must have been warned by two adim, by two witnesses. And there's a problem here. Although this specific prohibitive commandment is a prohibitive commandment that may result in death, this is not a prohibitive commandment which the halacha allows witnesses to testify on this person, or to warn this person for his action. And therefore, practically speaking, this transgression of the halacha cannot be punishable by death. So you would think, okay, so at least let's punish the person with malkut, right? It's a transgression of a scriptural law. And the answer is no. Once we take away death, the death sentence from the table, we also cannot make up laws of the Torah and say, oh, so give him malkut. Because malkut is lashing only when transgressing a scriptural law. So what happens? The person would be patur. Seemingly, it would seem like the person is patur. However, it seems that he is not liable for any actual ritual punishments. That is not 100% sure. However, the law is clear. He is not hayav malkut from the Torah. He is hayav mitah if he is warned. If he is warned and testified by witnesses. However, there is no warning and testifying through witnesses in this. So it causes like some catch, some sort of impossible situation, and therefore there is no malkut. Halacha gimel. אסור לישראל להשאיל או להשכיר בהמה גסה לגוי שלא יעשה בה המלאכה בשבת, והרי הוא מסווה על שביתת בהמתו, ואסרו חכמים לכל בהמה גסה לגוי שמא ישאיל או ישכיר. A person may not, an individual may not rent or lend his animal, his behema gasa, his heavy cattle, what behema gasa means in halacha, in the language of the halacha, is heavy cattle, consisting of cows, male, female, babies. And why may he not? Why is a person forbidden to lend or rent his cattle to the goy, his heavy cattle? Because we do not want the goy to do melacha on these animals, with these animals on Shabbat, as we are prohibited. We have the positive commandment of shevitat behema, and therefore Hachamim also ve'asiru Hachamim limkor behema gasa lagoy shemeh yash'il or yaskir, and therefore also Hachamim prohibited us as a prohibited measure to not sell our animals to goyim. Why? Our heavy cattle to goyim, so that a person does not by mistake go and rent or lend his heavy cattle to goyim, because the person will say, oh, if I could sell my animals to goyim, then of course I may rent or lend them to goyim. It would seemingly be allowed, and therefore Hachamim prohibited this. And if somebody sold his heavy cattle, behema gasa, to a goy, the kenas, he is liable in a court. The court may force him to buy back this cattle for up to 10 times the selling price, because Hachamim regard this in such a strict manner. Because Shavitat Behemot is something which people are very unstringent in. So Hachamim did this in order so that people do not fall in this halacha. Even an animal which is broken, in other words, which is damaged, and cannot do work for the goy that you sell it to, you still nevertheless not allowed to sell your animal to the goy. Now this is an interesting rule. Although it is forbidden to sell directly to a goy, because this is a sort of form of personal commerce between you and the goy, which may lead to you lending or renting your animal to the goy, thus causing the animal to work on Shabbat, it is nevertheless mutar. It is an individual is permitted to sell his animal to a goy via an intermediary, because the intermediary's only purpose in the selling of the animal is not for the personal enjoyment that would be given to him by renting or lending the animal, but rather for strict business purposes. And because once we have it is a strict business purpose, the individual, the intermediary, understands that this is strict business. I am selling, I'm a seller, I do not lend, I do not rent, and he also understands that it is asur. Halakha dalet. ומותר למכור להם סוס שאין הסוס אלא לרכיבת אדם לא למסוי והחי נושא את עצמו. And also it is permitted to sell horses to goyim, because the horses are made specifically, are used, their main use is for riding of people and not for carrying objects. And also the Hay Noseh Atzmo, we said this rule in last chapter, that a living animal carries itself, and therefore there's no isur here. In the same way we said it is prohibited to sell to a goy directly, it is also prohibited for a Jew to sell to another fellow Jew if this fellow Jew is possibly somebody who may sell the animal to a goy. And I'll just put in a parenthesis here. Part of the isur of Hachamim to do commerce with goyim in very specific situations, and I'm not saying this as a general rule, but was, as can be seen in Masechet Avodah Zarah, was to limit our business with the goyim and to make the business be more with Jews. I'm saying this in a very, very big parentheses, and as a side note, for more on that, see Masechet Avodah Zarah. There is definitely much more to see on the subject. And this, we read that. And another thing that is permitted with regard to giving the goy cattle is you're allowed to sell the cow to the goy if it's a cow that's made to be slaughtered. It's a cow that's going to slaughter, and you see the goy slaughtering it in front of you. However, you may not sell it randomly, a cow that's going to slaughter, to a goy without making sure that the goy actually, in fact, slaughters it, that you see him slaughtering it, because the goy may, nevertheless, even if you sell it to him on account that he's slaughtering it, he may decide to take it for uses of work, and thus work with it on Shabbat. Halakha he. מקום שנהגו למכור להם בהמה דקה, מוכרים. מקום שנהגו שלא למכור, אין מוכרים. ובכל מקום אין מוכרים להם חיה גסה, כמו שאין מוכרים להם בהמה גסה, אלא על ידי סרסור. Okay. In a place, now this halakha is a halakha which is changes from place to place. In places which the minhag, which the custom, it was customary to sell the goyim behemot dakot, what we call light cattle, consisting of sheep and goats and the type, and female, male, and their children and their youngins. So in a place that it is customary to sell behemot dakot, as we previously described, you may sell. However, in a place that it is not customary, the sale, it may not be sold. They may not be sold. And in any place, regardless of what the minhag is, what the custom is with behemah dakah, it is prohibited to sell the goyim hayot gasot. Hayot gasot are any animals that do not fall under these behemot tehorot, that can be put on the mizbeach. Hayat gasa is any animal that is kosher and is not a cow or sheep or goats. All the other animals we call hayat gasa. So from a giraffe, which is kosher, to whatever other kosher animals. And also, the same way you may not sell hayot gasot, behemot gasot, you may not sell hayot gasot. The only way to do it is using an intermediary. הלכה ו' מי שיחשיך בדרך ולא היה עמו נוכרי שייתן לו כיסו והייתה עמו בהמה מניח כיסו עליה כשהיא מהלכת וכשתצא לעמוד נוטה לו מעליה כדי שלא תעמוד והוא עליה. Okay, I'll stop here. Before reading this halakha, before explaining this halakha, I must explain an important rule in Ilchot Shabbat. According to Harambam, and not all the poskim, not all the Rishonim agree with him, but according to Harambam, and he says this specifically in a Teshuvah and in the previous chapters, it is mutar lecha tehila, it is permitted from the get-go, from the beginning, to carry an object in Reshut Rabim, what we call pachot me'arba amot, less than 4 amot at a time. So, for example, somebody has an object in his hand, which he realizes he's holding in Reshut Rabim for whatever reason. And now, he wants to carry it from point A to point B within the public domain. In order, the person may lecha tehillah, according to Harambam, may lecha tehillah, walk less than 4 amot at a time, thus carrying the object from point A to point B. This is mutar lecha tehillah. So now, when reading these halachot, keep that in mind and see what the hidush, what Harambam is teaching us here, that is new. Somebody who was walking Erev Shabbat and it became night. And he did not have a goy to which he could give him his wallet. As we saw in the previous halachot, in the previous chapters, it is mutar to give your wallet to a goy in such a situation. Now, it is very important to remember, in a situation in which it became nighttime, and somebody's walking in Erev Shabbat, he is very pressed to make it to his home on time for Kiddush, etc. He wants to make it home quickly because it's Shabbat. So he's pressed. He's in a situation of rushing. Okay? Now, he does not have a goy to give him his wallet. However, he does have an animal with him, one of his animals. Now, we said it is asur. It is not permitted to use your animal on Shabbat to carry things for you. This is me'isur shebita. This is from Lav Abba Mikelal Aseh of Shebitat Behema. But nevertheless, in this specific situation, in which the person has his wallet, and we're afraid, and we know that people are what we call hafuzin amamonam, they're afraid when it comes to their own money, they're more likely to transgress a law. It is allowed for them to put their wallet, it is allowed for an individual to put his wallet on the behema while the behema is walking. How come? Because when he puts it on the behema while the behema is walking, it is a special situation in which his resting of the object on the behema is not really considered resting. How come? Because until the behema stops, it is considered that the wallet still hasn't rested. Once the behema stops, it's considered that the wallet has rested. So in a situation in which a person, again, has ihshich alav haderech, he may put his wallet on the behema while the behema is still moving, in movement, and as soon as he sees, as soon as he sees that the behema, the animal, is about to stop, he picks up the wallet from it to prevent the wallet from being rested upon this behema, and therefore he did not transgress a deoraita law, because it doesn't matter what, unless it's pikuach nefesh, we do not transgress the deoraita law. In certain situations we do, this isn't one of them. However, he's transgressing a dirabanan law, a halfway, something which we allow, which Hachamim allow only for somebody in a case like this. As I explained, there's no rest, no akira, and no hanaha here because the animal is in movement. And another important condition here in this specific situation is that the person may not yell at the animal to move fast or guide it with his, with his stick or hand, because then it'll be mechamer b'Shabbat, as we said, is prohibited. And Chachamim gazru that this may not be done unless the person does not have with him a goy to which he can give his wallet. Now, this is very interesting. Again, to note, this is a hadush. Normally, a person can walk for amot. Why would he want to go quickly? Because it is hechshich baderech. He wants to make it quickly to his house before Shabbat enters. He's scared. He has things with him. He doesn't know what to do. So he's going to go running, and he's going to maybe even trick himself that that Shabbat really hasn't settled in yet. It's still maybe a little light outside, and he's tricking himself. So we say, no, it's okay. You could put it on the behemah, do it in a way that is less asur than actually transgressing, actually transgressing a real isur Shabbat that is hayav karet, that is, very, very serious isur Shabbat. Halacha zayin. Continuation of our subject. Haya in the same context. Haya immo haresh shoteh v'katan maniach kiso ala hamor. So if he had with him a haresh shoteh v'katan, somebody who was deaf from birth, or a person with impaired mental abilities who's patur from the mitzvot, or a child who's also patur from the mitzvot, he still may put his wallet on a donkey. He may not give it to the three aforementioned because they are still nevertheless people of Israel, and we do not want to use people of Israel to do our melachot for us, even if they're paturim from the melachot. If he had with him a hairish and shoteh, a deaf person from birth, or a mentally impaired person who's patur from the mitzvot, and he does not have with him a behemah, Chachamim permitted him to give it to the shoteh. Now again, he could have walked with it pachot me'arba amot, but Chachamim are allowing him because of the given situation. Shoteh ve'katan, let's say he only had a shoteh and a katan with him, he gives it to the shoteh and not the katan. Heresh ve'katan noteno le'ezeh mehen she'yirseh. However, if he has the decision, he has only with him a deaf person from birth or a child, he may give it to whichever one of them he wants to, because they are equal in this regard. Now, in a situation which he doesn't have any of these, he may walk with a wallet, as we said, it's mutar lechatchila, and therefore there was no problem. And even if just a regular find, something that he finds in the street that he's not scared of, somebody's wallet people are scared of, and that is the psychology behind the aforementioned situation. The person's scared of his wallet. It has all his money. He may be coming back from a long business trip, etc. He doesn't want to lose it. But something which an individual finds on the way is not something which somebody treasures so deeply, and therefore he may walk with it pachot me'arba amot, and we are not scared that he may do hilul Shabbat. ואפילו מסיעה שבאה לידו מהלך בה פחות מ4 אמות. אבל קודם שתבוא לידו, אם יכול להחשיך עליה מחשיך, ואם לאו, מוליכה פחות מ4 אמות. However, if he finds a mesi'ah before the entrance of Shabbat, if he finds a mesi'ah, and it's not something he is so that's so treasured to him, if he really wants it, if he could wait next to the mesi'ah, next to the finding, till the end of Shabbat, he should do that. However, if he cannot, if it's something which he cannot do, he cannot wait till the end of Shabbat with a finding, then he may walk with it also pachot me'arba amot. Now, it is not clear from this halacha that walking pachot pachot ma'abamot is allowed from the get-go lechatechila. However, in a Teshuvah of Rambam, he strictly regarding this specific halacha, he says that pachot pachot ma'abamot is mutar lechatechila. So even though this halacha may be a little bit tricky to understand from first sight, the halacha is clear. The halacha is clear with Harambam's Teshuvah and studying the subject in a little more depth. הלכה ח' מותר למשוך את הבהמה במתק ורסן שלה לרשות הרבים, והוא שתהיה ראויה לאותו הרסן. It is permitted to pull an animal with its leash, whatever leash it has, into the public domain, obviously from the private domain, as long as the leash is the right leash for this animal. כגון שיר לסוס ואפסה לגמל וחתם לנעקה וסוגר לכלב. We gave 4 different examples of types of leashes which are specific for a certain animal. אבל אם הוציא בהמה במתק שאין משתמרת בו, כגון שחשר חבל בפי הסוס או במתק שאינה הסריחה לו, אלא משתמרת בפחות ממנו, כגון שהוציא חמור בשיר של סוס או חתול בסוגר, הרי זה מסוי, שכל שמידה מעולה או שמידה פחותה מסוי הוא לה. However, if this leash was insufficient for the animal, to hold the animal in a proper manner, or it was more than sufficient to hold the animal in a proper manner. For instance, a double leash. He has 2 leashes on a dog. He doesn't need the second leash. Why do you have the second leash? So in this case, he may not do it because what's permitted is only what is exactly enough for the animal. If it's less than enough, then it's like masoy on the animal. It's like the animal is holding it, right? Like holding an object in a shtarabim for you. And if it's more, the little more that the animal could have lived without, you could have pulled it without, that little more is considered like masoy for you. It's considered like an object that the animal is carrying for you. Halacha tet. It is prohibited to tie camels one to another and to pull them after each other. Now, what we're talking about is a caravan of camels where you have them tied one to another back to back. And even if these camels were tied from before Shabbat, they may not be pulled on Shabbat. However, he may, if he has a few camels that he wants to pull all together, he may take all their ropes, as long as the camels aren't tied one to another, all their ropes, and pull them together with their ropes, as long as less than a tefach of rope comes out from within his fist. Okay? So the camels are not tied to each other, but he is, so to speak, pulling them with their leash all together. Okay? And this is allowed. This is permitted. And when a person is pulling an animal vis-a-vis a leash, the leash or the rope that is pulling the animal must be more than a tefach above the ground. מפני שהוא נראה כמי שמוליכן לשוק שמוכרים בו הבהמות או שמשחקים בהן שם. מפני זה לא תעשה בהמה בזוג שבסברה ואפילו היה פקוק שאין לו קול. And Rambam explains why is it prohibited to pull the camels when they are tied one to another, like a sort of caravan of camels, because this is mar'it ayn. When people see the person pulling these animals one after the other, it looks like he is carrying them in a professional manner to take them to sell them in the marketplace or to play with them in a circus-like manner. And because of this, it is prohibited as well to allow an animal to go out with bells that are on it, that are tied to its neck, and even if these bells were covered in a way that they do not make noise, because these bells make it seem like this animal is going to be sold or played with, and this is of course prohibited on Shabbat to do commerce. We'll see that in later halachot. Halacha yod. לא תעשה בהמה בזוג שבכסותיה ולא בחותם שבסבריה ולא בחותם שבכסותיה ולא בסועה שברגליה ולא בסולם שבסבריה. An animal may not go out with bells that are tied to its clothing and not with a symbol of ownership that is on its neck or on its clothing, and not with a some sort of straps on its feet, on its legs, and not with a ladder that is on its neck. ואין חמור יוצא במרדעת, אלא אם כן הייתה קשורה לו מערב שבת, and a donkey may not go out with his saddle unless the saddle was tied to him from before Shabbat. ולא יצא הגמל במטוטלת התלויה לו בדבשתו או בזנבו, אלא אם כן הייתה קשורה בזנבו וחותרתו, and a camel may not go out with a pendulum-like object that is tied to its back or to its tail, unless it was tied to his tail as well as to his hoteret, and his hoteret is the back, the bishit, what we call the camels. I forgot how the word slips my mind. The bishit of a camel is the word slips my mind. Nevertheless, the back, that thing that comes up, kind of like a little hill on a camel's back. So if it's tied to both of them, it is mutar. And a camel may not go out if one of its legs is tied to the other. One of its front legs is tied to one of its back legs, or vice versa. And this also applies to any other animal. The chickens may not go out with strings that are tied to their feet, or straps, leather straps that are tied to their feet. And also the sheep may not go out with the agala that's under the aliyah. The aliyah is the tail of the sheep, and they would have many times some sort of wooden instrument under the tail of the sheep to keep the sheep from getting dirty. Also, sheep may not go out. I'm not sure I made it clear. All these halachot from halacha vav till where our current halacha, and furthermore, are halachot in regard to what is considered masa on a behema, what is considered a carrying for the behema in regard to shebitat behemot on Shabbat. So I'm emphasizing this so to show that it's not just a randomly organized halachot, that there's some sort of organizational internal organization here that organized the halachot in a very, very strictly well organized manner. So I'll continue our halacha. So we said אין התרנגולים יוסעים בחוטים ולא ברצועות שברגליהן, ואין הכבשים יוסעים בעגלה שתחת העלייה, ואין הכבשות יוסעות בעצים שמניחים להם בחותמן כדי שיתעטשו אותו לעין שבמוכן. They would have the sheep, the female sheep, however you say that, the word is clear. They would put some sort of twigs in their nose to cause them to sneeze, thus causing any worms that they would have on their head, on the top of their head, to fall off. This would cause them to get rid of the worms in a rather aggressive manner. And they wouldn't need to do this for the male sheep, because the male sheep used to fight each other, sheep head to head bumping, and therefore they wouldn't have this problem. And a baby ox may not go out with these small instruments of work that they put on his neck in order to cause him to be more accustomed to working with these work instruments. And an animal may not go out with the net that is put on its mouth, like so to speak, like a muzzle. Also, the cow may not go out to the public domain with the porcupine skin that they would put on its breasts, so that foreign animals do not nurse it while it is sleeping at night. Also, it is prohibited to let an animal, the cow, out with a straps between its horns, whether it's for beauty or for some other purpose. For example, making, just signifying that it belongs to a specific, that type of owner, that owner, rather than somebody else. A goat that he made a hole in its horns, he may go out with the afsar that is tied to it on Shabbat. The afsar is the moment that slips my mind, the explanation. The afsar is the leash that they were tied it. So if he ties the leash to the horns of the animal, you may go out with the leash is tied to the horns, even though this may not be the conventional way of tying the leash to the animal, because he made a special effort to do it, and it stays well, it doesn't fall off, it's mutar. However, if you just suck it into the fur of the animal, of the goat, this is not mutar, this is prohibited, because it may fall off, and then he may walk with it more than 4 amot in Reshut Rabbim. Halacha Yod Bet. Hazacharim, the males, they may go out with the leather that is tied on their sexual organ, so that they do not impregnate or try to impregnate the females. We're talking about goats or any other animals, but this specifically would seem to be in regard to sheep and goats, but it seems that it is also relevant to other animals. Also, they would have leather covering their the inner parts of their body, so that animals do not jump them from below. I must admit, this is not too clear to me, this sentence that I just explained, but that is, to the best of my knowledge, how to explain it. If anybody else has a more accurate explanation, I would love to hear it. Also, the animal the zecharin may go out with the whatever nice cloths that they would put on them for purposes of good, to look good. And the female sheep may go out, Rehela is a female sheep, may go out with their tail tied up, pointing up, so that the males impregnate them, or if it's tied downwards, impregnate them. They may also and they may also go out with cloths covering their wool, so that the wool stays clean. And the goats, the female goats, may go with their breasts tied, so that their milk gets dried out. However, if he takes out the if he ties the breasts of the goats so that the milk stays in them until the evening, then he may not go out with them, because this is as though they are carrying the milk that he will be drinking in the evening, and this is like masor. The donkey may not go out with the saddle even, a donkey, yes, may not go out with the saddle even if the saddle was tied to him from Erev Shabbat. What is the difference between a marda'at and a ukaf? We mentioned in the previous, in halacha yod, a marda'at, that a hamor may go out with a marda'at who was tied to him on Erev Shabbat. A marda'at is a cloth that they would have on the donkey, like a saddle, but less sturdy and firm, just some cloth. And a marda'at is a actual full length saddle. So if it's a real saddle, like a full real saddle, made out of wood or leather or whatever you make it out of, you may not go out with the donkey, may not go out with it. And the horse may not go out with the tail of a fox. They would put it either for talisman purposes, or for to look nice, stylish. Also not with the colored wool that they would put in between the eyes of the horse for purposes of style. ולא תשא בהמה בכלסתר שבפיה ולא בסנדל שברגלها ולא בקמע שאינו מומחה לבהמה. Also, any other type of talisman that you, the animals may not go out with the pouch that they would have in their mouth to carry the food, or with shoes that they would have specially made for these animals, as well as it is also prohibited for the animals to go out with a talisman that is not mumhay, and in the last chapter we described the different types of kame'ot, what a kame'a mumhay is, what a kame'a she'enu mumhay. Kame'a mumhay is a kame'a that was proven to work 3 times, or was made by somebody who his kame'ot work on more than 3 people. However, the animal may go out with a bandage that is on some sort of bruise, and with the wooden cast-like cast that they would really use to repair a broken body part. But also a female may go out with the shilya, what you call the water, what holds the child after giving birth. Sometimes it would stay in the animal; it wouldn't fully get disconnected. So this thing called a shilya, what holds the animal, the child in the water in the womb of the mother, sometimes would stay, and it is allowed to go with it because it is in the hashu. Also, also, the person may do what is called pekikat zuk. It is to put on a female. You may put a and a female behema the kargasa, whatever it is. You may put the bells on them as long as it stays in the inner domain, in the private domain, not the public domain. Also, you may put a mardat, the cloth saddle, on the donkey on Shabbat, and it may walk around in the chaser. However, you may not put what we call the kelastar. We said it was a pouch, the pouch that they put the food in, even in the chaser. כשם שאדם מסווה על שביתת בהמתו בשבת, כך הוא מסווה על שביתת עבדו ואמתו. Now we are going on to what I said at the beginning of the chapter when I gave my small short preface. This is Shevitat Aibid. The same way we are prohibited, we have a positive commandment to allow our animals to rest on Shabbat, as prescribed by Chachamim. We also have a positive commandment to rest our abadim, our slaves, on Shabbat. So, כשם שאדם מסווה על שביתת בהמתו בשבת, כך הוא מסווה על שביתת עבדו ואמתו. ואף על פי שהם בנדעת, ולדעת עצמן עושים. And it's very interesting. So the same way you have this positive commandment to rest your animals on Shabbat, you also have the positive commandment to rest your slaves. And even if the slaves have mind, meaning they're old enough to understand what they're doing, and they're doing it for themselves, it is a precept on the person, it is commanded on the person, on the individual, to protect and make sure that the abadim, his slaves, do not do melachot on Shabbat. Shene'emar, למען ינוח שורך וחמורך ונפש מן אמתך והגר, and as shall rest your ox and camels, and shall rest the son of the female slave and the proselyte. Halakha tetvav. Abed ve'ama she'anu mesuvin al shevitatan hem abadim shemalu v'tabelu l'shem abdut. The slaves, female and male, that we are talking about, that the person is commanded to cause them to be shobetin on Shabbat. These are slaves that, if it's a male, did a circumcision and tebilah for abdut, or if it's female, she just did tebilah for abdut. In other words, and they took upon themselves the precepts that the slaves, slaves that did not do מילה and תבילה. אלא קיבלו 7 מצוות שנסתוו בני נוח בלבד, but rather only took upon themselves the 7 Noahide laws. הרי כגר תושב. They are what we call a גר תושב. We spoke about this in הלכות מילה, the types of things. גר תושב, ומותרים לעשות מלאכה בשבת לעצמה בפרסיה, ישראל בכל. הגר תושב is a proselyte living within the confines of Israel, which does the 7 Noahide laws, which takes upon himself the 7 Noahide laws. We allow him to live within our confines. However, there's a catch. Although he's allowed to do work on Shabbat, even outdoors, even in Eretz Israel, the same way he does it on any regular day, and we do not accept within our midst a ger toshav, a ger that performs the 7 Noahide laws, unless we are in the time which the year of the Jubilee is in action. The Yovel, what we call the year of the Jubilee, is every 7 Shemitot, every 7-year cycles. In other words, every 49 years, the 50th year is what we call a Yovel, which is a second Shemitah. However, this only works, we only do the Yovel when we have Sanhedrin, Be'ezirat Hashem, that we have this very close in our times. Halakha Tetzan, or in some books, the continuation of Halakha Yudal. הואיל וגר תושב עושה מלאכה לעצמו בשבת וגר צדק הרי הוא כישראל לכל דבר, במי נאמר וינפש בנעמת איכה והגר. So we said on one hand, a ger toshav is that type of proselyte, which only does the 7 Noahide laws, and he may do work on Shabbat. And a ger tzedek, a true proselyte, not somebody who does the 7 Noahide laws, somebody who really takes upon himself all the mitzvot of Am Yisrael, he's like a Jew in every regard, as well as Shabbat. Who does it say? Who is the pasuk referring to? What is the pasuk referring to when it says, "And shall rest the son of your female slave and your proselyte"? We said on one hand, a full-out ger, a regular proselyte, does all the mitzvot like a Jew, including Shabbat, and a ger toshav, somebody who takes upon himself the 7 Noahide laws, we call him a ger toshav, does not have to do Shabbat. So who is this pasuk talking about? זה גר תושב שהוא לקיטו ושכילו של ישראל כמו בן אמתו. שלא יעשה מלאכה לישראל רבו בשבת, אבל לעצמו עושה. So the pasuk is referring to that ger toshav, that ger that take upon himself the 7 Noahide laws, who is working for a Jew. It is prohibited for him to do work for his Jewish master on Shabbat. However, for himself, he may do work on Shabbat. He may transgress the laws of Shabbat if it's for his own personal benefits. And even if this ger was his was somebody's slave, in other words, a ger that does 7 Noahide laws is somebody's actual slave. The ger may, this goy that's a ger tzedek, may in fact do melachot for himself on Shabbat. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen, amen.